Greetings and welcome to another episode of BTY. My name is Michael, and as always I'm joined by my very good friend Daniel Hammond, and we are here today to do an episode of BTY Wrestling with Topics. This is a series that we do here on this channel, mainly diving into different topics that perhaps we might actually disagree on, and considering both sides of the situation, and at the end of the day seeing which one comes out on top. So today we actually want to discuss the idea of whether you should practice humility and being humble, or whether you should practice actually being proud of your achievements and proud of who you are, and perhaps practicing a bit of arrogance. Another word could be being cocky. So Dan, I'm quite keen to hop into this. I think this is something that for young people in general, I mean, as a man and as women, you might see both sides, all around you. Some people are extremely humble and don't like to stand up for their own achievements. Perhaps they sort of think of themselves as less than others. Then you get, I'm sure we've met a lot of people who instantly think they're better than everyone else, man. So there's two extremes to the situation. But today we want to discuss sort of the balance between those two, and keen to hear what your thoughts on it are, man.
Yeah, no, keen to hop into this topic with you. It's an interesting one because it's difficult to look at like both spectrums and decide where to fall, but it should be an awesome topic today, man.
100%. So my opinion on this is that you need a little bit of cockiness in your life, and you need a bit of arrogance and pride, which is actually going to allow you to be someone who can stand up for themselves.
Yeah.
So the reason that I actually believe this is when I was growing up in high school, teenager, I almost had like no self-esteem, and it was something that I actually really struggled with, man. I mean, you know my story, but and I'm sure that most of those who are listening also have heard this kind of story before. But yeah, self-esteem was something that I really struggled with, and I think the way I was raised actually was to always sort of respect my elders, and this kind of gave me this inferiority complex, I would say, for quite a while actually growing up, where I didn't, I kind of thought that everyone who was older than me was, above me and better than me, and they instantly deserved my respect. And like I said, this sort of developed an inferiority complex in me, and this was something that I had to train myself out of a few years going into, as I got older now, in my 20s. Yeah, man, this was something that sort of, I feel that it really held me back for quite a long time, because there was a lot of people that, as soon as I met them, like I said, if they were older than me, or even, let's say, you could say like a higher position, if they were, in college and they were in third year, for example, and I was in first year, or maybe, when you're in high school, it's like tricks are always the big dogs. So anyone that was sort of slightly higher than me, I instantly thought that they were better than me for some reason, and I couldn't challenge them on anything. If they asked me to jump, I would say how high, kind of thing. Like, I think a lot of people actually struggle with this, and that's why I really believe that developing a bit of pride in yourself is actually so important. Because what that'll allow you to do is have the mindset of the fact that no one actually deserves your respect outright. Respect is something that has to be earned, instead of just just because you're older than me, I have to respect you and I have to treat you like you're better than me. No, like, I have the pride in myself, and some people might think it's being cocky, but I believe that I myself, I have certain things that I can bring to the table, and I'm sure so does every person that you meet. But from the bat, I'm not just going to put them in a place above me. They have to first earn that respect from me. So that's my perspective on it, man.
Yeah, so I must say I relate to, and that's why I smile, because I relate to also what you just said, as that I followed like a similar path in high school, and it's something that I had to battle to get out of, becoming or getting rid of that inferiority mindset of thinking everyone else is better than me, and also backing myself, though I still believe in, being humble, because being humble helps you to be teachable. And I think because I am also a more, like, I fall on the more humility, or like, I don't know how to phrase it, but I fall on the spectrum of being more humble than being prideful. Just it helped me to actually develop myself even more than what I could if I was prideful, because usually when you see these guys that think they are like on top and they are better than everyone, they seem to think that they know everything and what they know is best. And then on being humble, you think that there is something better out there and there's more that you can learn. So it definitely helps you to be teachable, and that's why I've been able to gain so much knowledge over the last while, in like this last 3 years, just trying to gain as much knowledge to improve myself in like all aspects of life, whether it being emotional, physical, mentally. So yeah, humility is, it's been a great tool in my life, I must say.
I understand that perspective, man. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I can't help but like hear what you say. But there's one thing I want to bring up. I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called Catch Me If You Can, and it's quite a good one, just starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
But anyway, when I watched this movie, it also sort of changed my perspective on this topic quite a lot, because in this movie, there's basically this young guy, I can't remember his name, but he basically achieves a whole lot, and he actually manages to get very far in life by basically pretending to have knowledge and to be in positions that he actually doesn't have.
Yeah.
So somehow by having the confidence and you could say the arrogance, he can convince people that he is like a doctor, and then he like manages to work his way up in a hospital, and no one asks question, because he has so much confidence with the way he goes about things that people take his word for it, and he manages to climb up the ranks. And there's other examples of things that he did in the movie, like he just walked onto like a jet, and like people thought that he was this rich guy because that's what he said he was, and people believed it because he believed in himself.
Yeah.
So what that movie taught me is that people aren't going to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself.
Believe in yourself, yeah.
And I know that being humble doesn't necessarily mean that you don't believe in yourself, but oftentimes it sort of portrays to other people that you think less of yourself than others. That's what I've sort of noticed. And what I would say is that if you can portray yourself in a way to others, and you genuinely have that inside yourself, by having a bit of pride in who you are, in the way you came from, and what you can do, what you know you can do, this will actually portray, the world will be able to see that in you, and that will allow you to get much further. Like in that movie, there's sort of extreme examples of a guy managing to get into positions that he never should have been in because of this. But it doesn't even have to play out in such an extreme sense, but you can actually negotiate for like higher positions in your job. You can meet people and make friends with people who are much higher up than you, if you have the ability to talk with them and almost act like you are one of them. Like I said, it's that thing of that no one deserves your respect outright. So when oftentimes people say this, is that when you're speaking to very successful people, if you treat them as this like better than you person, and you're sort of like, you feel like you're below them, and you treat them like that, the way you speak to them, like, oh, it's so amazing to meet you, they're not really going to treat you like you are very much anyway. But if you treat them like just another person, and you don't look at them as any better than you, because at the end of the day they're not, they're just someone who has a different path, maybe they've achieved some success which they deserve credit for, but in no way are they better than you. That actually makes that person much more likely to have respect for you, because they will see, okay, this person, they're just going about their lives, and they don't think that I'm superior to them in any way. And oftentimes, even like with romantic relationships, it's the same. I know growing up, you always thought like, how can you get with the prettiest girls? But if you're going to put them on a pedestal and treat them like they are better than you, then you're never going to be there. But if you see them for just another human being, and like I said, you have the belief in yourself that you are actually high level, and you've got things that you bring to the table, I just think that this will actually get you a bit further than presenting yourself as someone who's very humble and meek, you
Yeah.
could say.
And meek, yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of importance that goes into that, and just getting back on the front of being like more humble, and why I would say it's a more beneficial trait to me is because it makes you more likable. So yes, when you're approaching someone that's a CEO in your company, and you come forth as someone that thinks he's made it already, while this guy has got so much, like he put in a lot of time to get to the position where he is, and you sort of just get in there and call him by his name instead of saying sir. He might take offense just because he already earned his respect, kind of already, with the position where he is. So in nowhere am I saying that with humility you should also be below someone else, but I would want to treat everyone as an equal. So with that, also being more likable through the trait of humility is because you'll be able to show more compassion, and you'll be more empathy to others that are around you, and that also causes people to be like, what does it call with a magnet? Yeah, to pull towards you, to attract towards you, because they can confide in you, as in they might be going through like a tough time at home or at work, something wasn't right, and because you show more empathy, you're able to listen to them rather than like just shoving it aside and saying like fix your own things. As someone who believes in themselves, you can help this, you can work through this on your own. They'll be able to confide in you, you can give them advice, and that will make them like come and always look at you from a more favorable perspective than someone who would be more prideful. And then another thing I can add on that is being more humble is you'll take your time out to remember someone's name when you are introduced to each other, and then the next time you meet each other you can call them on their name. And studies have proven that when you're referring to someone by their name, they are also triggered to be more happy, because you actually recognize them and see them as another person, and that also just makes things more favorable for you, and then can open doors in the future. That's something I must testify that it's worked out very well in my life, because of me just taking that extra step to making someone else feel important and actually seeing them as important.
It's good points, man. It's good points. Yeah, I've enjoyed this debate. I think that's from my side. I feel like I've sort of summarized why, and I feel like I've fought my side of why I think that just a little bit of arrogance can actually serve you well.
Yes.
But we often say here at BTY that at the end of the day, balance is something that comes into play. And I think there's probably a bit of a difference between being arrogant and prideful, and then perhaps being proud of who you are, and perhaps treating everyone equally, like you said. I think it's almost like we came to a bit of an agreement there, in that you're treating everyone equally in the way that you don't look down on anyone, and you sort of keep them on the same level. But I think what I'm referring to is the fact that you're not putting anyone above yourself.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, you want to treat everyone equally, and I think if you're doing that, then you're probably in quite a good spot.
Yeah.
And I'd be very interested to hear from anyone who's listening, to hear what their perspectives are, and how humility has served you, and perhaps how arrogance and maybe a bit of cockiness has served you.
Yeah. No, it's been a great video, and it was cool hearing your perspective, and there's definitely things I can take home, like people would say, or I can ponder on later, and also just adjust my life towards that. And Yeah, I think the last thing I would mention is that humility is a really underrated trait. And if you have to go and look in the lives of a lot of successful people, like you said, they've got that self belief in themselves, but then you can also notice that they have a bit of humility to being open to learning more from others. If you look at the starter or the founder of Amazon, no, not Amazon, Alibaba, he says he might not be the smartest guy in the room, but he was aware of hiring the smartest people to work for him, and that's also what made his company so successful. And there's a lot of other guys that you read up on that's kind of done a similar thing. But at the end of the day, it's definitely important to know that confidence comes with competence. So the more competent you become, the more confident you'll naturally be in your daily life and just as a person.
It's very true.
Yeah, so thanks for the video, man. I appreciate this conversation so much.
Always good, always good. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I do hope that you will consider subscribing after listening to this conversation. Yeah, at PTY we like to change things up every now and then, do something a little bit different. So that's what we were doing today with today's video. And we basically aim to provide you with content every week that is going to push you towards holistic self-improvement. And if you want to join us for that ride, then please do consider subscribing, leaving a like on this video, and sharing with anyone that you feel could benefit from it.
Yeah, no, thanks for the video, and thanks for if you've made it to the end. Much love here from PTY. Cheers.